Dear friends, today's lecture is based on life cycle pattern of Equisetum. Equisetum is one of the member of pteridophytic plant group. So that Equisetum is one of the pteridophyte. Okay. In our syllabus, a detailed life cycle is not included. So, as per our syllabus, we are only focusing on the life cycle pattern, so that we are trying to complete this life cycle pattern within a one lecture. Okay, so life cycle pattern of Equisetum. The systematic position of the Equisetum. Systematic position means classification. It is belong to division Pteridophyta, class Spinopsida, order Equisetaceae, family Equisetaceae, and genus Equisetum. Okay, division Pteridophyta, class Spinopsida, order Equisetaceae, family Equisetaceae, and genus Equisetum. This is the classification of the Equisetum. Then point number 1. The common name of Equisetum is horsetail. Horsetail is the common name of the Equisetum. Number 2. Equisetum is represented by some 30 species. They are distributed all over the world. The occurrence of the Equisetum is cosmopolitan. It can occur everywhere in the world, and there are 30 species. Number 3. They grow in a variety of habitats. Okay. Some species prefer damp and shady places, while others grow in marshy places. Marshy means water saturated areas. Water saturated areas are called as the marshy places. Then ponds or along the sandy river banks. Okay, means they shows diversity in their habitats. They can prefer damp and shady places, marshy places, grows along the ponds and sandy river banks or beaches. Number 4. There is deposition of silica on the outer wall of the epidermal cells, and due to which plants become rough in texture. Due to deposition of the silica, the epidermal cells are very hard and rough in texture. Okay. Then sporophytic plant body of the Equisetum. Sporophytic means what? The spore producing plant body is the sporophytic plant body. In case of pteridophytic plants, the sporophytic plant body is the dominant plant body. It is a long-lived plant body. It is a typically green and autotrophic plant body. So main plant body in the pteridophytic group is the sporophytic plant body. You see in the photograph, the pteridophytic plant body shows the underground rhizome, then aerial shoots or stems, aerial stems, and underground rhizome. They are similar in structure. One difference is that rhizome is the subterranean or underground, and shoots are the aerial. Their morphology is the same, their structure is the same. Okay. Then two types of branches are there. One branch is mostly branched or profusely branched, and another branches do not having any sub branches. Means there is difference in between. The profusely branched stem or shoot is called as the sterile shoot, and the unbranched shoot is called as the fertile shoot. Sterile shoot having only branches, but on the fertile shoot there is a single cone at its apex. See, in the fertile shoot at the tip there is a strobilus, there is a cone. So cone is the reproductive structure, and cone produces the spores. So this is the sporophytic plant body. Okay, so that at the tip of the fertile branches there is a strobilus, but in sterile shoots there is no any cones. Okay. Then roots are developed from the underground rhizome. Then roots are again simple and adventitious. Okay. And Again, another structures also produced by the underground rhizome, that is the tubers. That tubers are not, they are the rounded structure produced by the underground rhizome, and these tubers are nothing but the vegetatively reproductive organs. Okay. Then these underground rhizome, fertile branches, sterile branches, all are covered by the leaves, and these leaves are very small, scaly leaves. Okay. So in this way, this is the habit or external morphology or plant body structure of the equisetum, and this plant body is the sporophytic plant body. Okay. Then see the description. The sporophyte of equisetum is differentiated into stem, root and leaves. Just a minute. The sporophyte of equisetum is differentiated into stem, root and leaves. So these are the three parts. Okay. Then stem. The main stem, underground, creeping and perennial rhizome. Main stem is the underground, then creeping, okay, and perennial means it can grow more than 2 to 3 years. Number 2, it often lies more than a meter below the surface of soil. Okay, and this underground rhizome or this underground stem called as a rhizome, it can grows up to the 1 meter in length. Number 3, it is differentiated into nodes and internodes. The nodes and internodes are present on the underground rhizome as well as the aerial stems. Number 5, the tuber is a perinating organ and it develops into a new plant on return of favorable conditions. Underground rhizome produces the tubers. They are vegetatively reproductive organs and they are full with the food material. Number 6, the rhizome bears two types of aerial shoots, vegetative shoots and fertile shoots. Okay, the rhizome produces two types of shoots, sterile shoots and fertile shoots. Okay, vegetative shoots functioning is the only photosynthesis, and fertile shoot functioning is the to produce the spore producing structure, cone or strobilus. Number 7, both are differentiated into nodes and internodes. Like underground rhizome, aerial branches also having the nodes and internodes. Number 8, the vegetative shoots are usually branched, green and photosynthetic. The vegetative shoots means sterile shoots. They are branched, green and photosynthetic in nature. Number 9, here leaves are very small. Okay, they are scaly, so that stems or shoots are involved in the photosynthesis, particularly vegetative means sterile shoots. Number 9, the fertile shoots are unbranched and achlorophyllous. The fertile shoots are achlorophyllous and unbranched, and at each terminates into cone or strobilus, and at the tip they produces cone or the strobilus. Then leaves of the equisetum. As you know that underground rhizome and aerial shoots, they covered by the small leaves at the nodal region. Number 1, the leaves are minute and scaly. Number 2, they arise in whorls. Whorl means all leaves are coming from the single point. Such leaves arrangement is called as the whorled arrangement. They arise in whorls at the nodes of both the underground rhizome and aerial branches. Number 3, leaves are non-photosynthetic. Here leaves do not involved in the photosynthesis, and their main function is to protect the branch buds at the nodes. They can protect the branch buds, means apical tips. Apical tips are involved in the elongation of growth of the plant, height of the plant, so that they can protect the apical tips. Then anatomy of the aerial shoot. Okay, aerial shoot means aerial branches, aerial stem. Okay, this this anatomy again shows two types: the anatomy of nodal region, anatomy of internodal region. And here we are only taken the diagram and description of TS of internode region of the shoot. Okay, TS of aerial shoot passing through the internode region or internode. You see in the photograph, A diagram is, this is the outline of the section. This outline of the section is the circular, okay, and this circular section also shows somewhat ridges and some grooves, ridges, furrows, okay, so that the outline is wavy, okay, and inside the stem or inside the shoot, again cellular differentiation is present, and cellular differentiation is start from the epidermis, then stoma, sclerenchyma, collenchyma, vallicular canal, endodermis, pericycle, metaxylem, protoxylem, okay, then phloem, carinal canal, and at the center there is a pith. First diagram is nothing but the diagrammatic view, and B diagram is the cellular details diagram, okay. Now we can study these cellular details one by one, okay. Point 1, the outgrowth of stem is wavy with ridges and grooves. Ridges means raised portion, grooves means it is called as shallow portion. Shallow म्हणण्यापेक्षा तिथे जरा खोलगट भाग असतो तो, ओके. द आउटलाइन ऑफ स्टेम इज वेवी विथ रिजेस, उंचवटे, अँड ग्रूज त्याचा खोलगट भाग. नंबर 2, द टिश्यू आर organized into epidermis, cortex, stele, and pith cavity. So these are the main parts of the anatomy of the stem. Number 3, epidermis. It is cuticularized, means it is covered by the cuticle, which is the waxy coating, with tangentially elongated and silicified cells. Their structure is tangentially elongated, and silicified means they are deposited with the silica. The stomata are sunken. Sunken means deeply situated on the epidermal cells. The stomata are sunken. Sunken is one of the type of stomata generally present in the xerophytic plant epidermis. The stomata are sunken, found in the grooves. They are found in the grooves region, not on the ridges. Number 4, cortex. It follows the epidermis and it's differentiated into outer and inner cortex, okay. And below the epidermis there is a cortex, and this cortex is always storing function. It can store the food material. That is the very common function of the cortex, and this cortex is further divided into outer cortex and inner cortex. Now the first point is the small a, the outer cortex, okay. Sorry, the outer cortex below the ridges means the raised portion of the outline of the stem. The outer cortex below the ridges shows the sclerenchyma, and small patches of the sclerenchyma also occur below the grooves, okay. Sclerenchymatous patches are there. Sclerenchyma is the purely mechanical tissue which is present below the ridges. Beneath the ridges, radially elongated chlorenchymatous cells are present. Chlorenchymatous cells means the cells having the chlorophyll tissue. Below the ridges, below the sclerenchyma, there is a sclerenchymatous region, okay. They having the chloroplast, so this region involved in the photosynthesis. Then small b, the inner cortex is composed of large and thin walled parenchymatous cells, and you see in the inner cortex there is a parenchymatous region, and or there is a cortex which is made by the parenchyma, which is the simple thin walled tissue which is always storing in function. Large canals below the grooves are known as vallicular canals. You see there are the large spaces present in the inner cortex, and these large spaces are oval in structure or somewhat circular structure, and these are called as the vallicular canal. And these vallicular canals are these large air spaces or empty spaces very easily seen in the diagram, okay. Then next point, number 5, endodermis. It forms a sheath outside the ring of vascular bundles, okay. endodermis, it forms the sheath outside the ring of vascular bundle. You see in the diagram below the vallicular canal, the endodermis is present. Endodermis always separate the inner region and outer region of the stem from each other. Inner region contains the vascular tissues called as the stellar tissue or stele, and outer region is called as non-vascular extrastellar region. And inner vascular region, outer non-vascular means inner stellar region, outer extrastellar region is always separated by the presence of endodermis, and which is present below the inner cortex. Endodermis, it forms a sheath outside the ring of vascular bundles. You see at the center there is a concentric ring of the vascular bundle, and this in a diagram it can seen there is a concentric ring. Concentric means circular ring of the vascular bundles, and they are covered by the endodermis. Below the endodermis, the single layered pericycle is present. Below the endodermis, again there is a single layered pericycle. You see in the diagram below the endodermis, pericycle is clearly seen. Number 6, stele means vascular tissues. It is a ectofloic. Siphonostele with ring of vascular bundles. The vascular bundle type is the ectofloic and siphonostele. Okay, and these vascular bundles are arranged in the circular manner. Number 7, the center of internode is parenchymatous, but cells disintegrate later on to develop a large central cavity known as central canal or pith cavity. You see at the center in A diagram and B diagram, it is denoted by the pith. At the center, pith is there. Basically, in primary condition, there is a parenchymatous cells, but at maturity, their space is formed, and that space is called as central cavity or the pith cavity. Then the reproduction in the equisetum or reproduction of equisetum. First is the vegetative reproduction. We already observed that the small tubers are develops by the underground rhizome or underground stem, and these tubers are vegetatively reproductive organs. And here explanation is given. Point number 1, the underground rhizome of some species of equisetum, for example Equisetum arvens, Equisetum telmacea, form tubers which help in vegetative reproduction. Number 2, they are oval or pear shaped, rich in starch grains. They are full with the food material starch. Number 3, after detachment from the parent plant, when these tubers are separated from the rhizome, the tubers remain in the soil. They can remain present in the soil, and on return of favorable conditions, when favorable conditions will be returned, they grow into new plants. They will germinate and they can produce new individual plant of the equisetum. So this is the very simple vegetative reproduction of the equisetum caused by the tubers. Now the reproduction by spores. You know that you see in the A diagram, there is a fertile shoot, and at the tip of fertile shoot the strobilus is develops. Okay, strobilus means spore producing structure. In B diagram, that is the longitudinal means LS, longitudinal section of the strobilus. Longitudinal section of the strobilus shows a centrally located axis, which is called as axis of the strobilus. Okay, then toward both side of the strobilus in right angles the sporangiophores are attached. Okay, sporangiophores are attached in right angle to the axis of the strobilus, and at the tip the sporangiophores are disc like. You see in the C diagram or D diagram, the sporangiophores are disc like at the tip, and at the base of the sporangiophores many sporangia are there, At the base of the sporangiophores, many sporangia are there, and sporangia are nothing but the bag of the spores, sac of the spores, and these sporangia produces the spores. Okay, and these spores causes the reproduction in the equisetum. And these spores are always develops in the sporangium. Sporangium develops on the sporangiophores. Sporangiophores are attached to the axis of the strobilus. Okay, so strobilus is made by many sporangiophores and central axis, and sporangiophores produces the sporangia, and sporangia contains the spores. See the description. Point to number 1. Equisetum is homosporous pteridophyte. Homosporous means what? In its entire life cycle, it produces single type of spores. Okay, only single type of spores are produced by the equisetum, so that it is a homosporous. Number 2. Spores develops within sporangia born on sporangiophores. Spores develops in the sporangia, and sporangia born on the sporangiophores. Number 3. PHORE, phore means stalk. Stalk of the sporangium, stalk of the sporangium, sporangiophore. Very simple meaning. Number 3. The sporangiophores are arranged into compact cone or strobilus. Okay, they are arranged in the strobilus. Number 4. Strobilus is born on special fertile shoot. We already discussed. Number 5. The strobilus has central massive axis called as strobilus axis and a large number of sporangiophores. You see in the diagram, it is clearly given. Number 6. The sporangiophores project at right angles in successive alternate whirls from the strobilus axis. It is also discussed now. The sporangiophores are attached to the cone axis in right angles. Okay. Now, the number 7. Each sporangiophore is stalked structure with a hexagonal peltate disc at its distal end. Okay, the end of the sporangiophore with peltate disc. Peltate means plate like. Number 8. The outer side of the sporangiophore disc. Okay, so not outer, underside. On underside of the sporangiophore disc, 5 to 10 sac-like sporangia are born near its periphery in a ring, and at the base you see in diagram number D, at the periphery of the stalk, the 5 to 10 sporangia are develops. Okay. Number 9. As sporangia mature, strobilus axis elongates. Okay. Consequently, the compactly arranged sporangiophores separate from each other and sporangia are exposed. When strobilus is matures, the cone axis is elongated and sporangiophores are loose from their compact arrangement. Number 10. As sporangium dries, it will rupture and spores will be liberated. When sporangium dries, it will ruptures and spores will be come outside from the sporangium, or they can disperse through wind or different vectors. Number 11. The spores are special, uninucleate and green. The spores are circular, space means spherical, then uninucleated, they having the single nucleus, and they are typically green. They contain numerous chloroplasts, and they contain the numerous chloroplasts, so they are typically green. Okay. Number 12. The spore wall is differentiated into 4 concentric layers. The spore wall is made by the 4 layers. The outer is the perispore. Outer layer is called as the perispore. The second is middle layer. Then third is the exospore or exine, and innermost is the endospore. So in this way, these are the 4 layers of the spores: perispore, middle layer, exine or exospore, and endospore or intine. Okay, you see in the diagram, the E diagram shows the single spore, F diagram shows the single spore is covered by the elateres. G diagram, the elateres are loosened from their union. And in H diagram, the elaters are they are very small, like a paraphysis or ribbon like structures, and these elaters are useful for the dispersion of the spores. They are helpful for the dispersion of the spores, and they works as a like a parachute for dispersal of the spores. These elaters work as a parachute. Okay, so these are the elaters attached to the spores. Then gametophyte. Gametophyte means what? Gametophytic plant body. Gametophytic plant body means gametangia producing plant body. Gametangia means male and female reproductive organs. Male gametangium is the anthridium. Female gametangium is the archegonium. They both are multicellular structure. Both are covered by the sterile jacket layer. Okay. Anthridium produces the anthridium is made by the androgonal cells or androcytes. Each androcyte is metamorphosis into or produces a single sperm. It is also called as spermatozoid. Antherozoid, it is nothing but the male gamete, and archegonium contains the egg, which is the female gamete. Okay, the sperm male gamete is the motile structure, it is multiflagellate, and egg is the non-motile. Okay. Though gametophytic plant body. Number one, the spore of Equisetum germinate shortly after shedding and gives rise to prothallus. When the spore is coming outside from the strobilus, it will germinate immediately and produce the prothallus, and that prothallus is the gametophytic plant body of the Equisetum. It is a very small structure. Number two, both Anthridia and Archegonia. Anthridia, male reproductive structure. Archegonia, female reproductive structures. Both Anthridia and Archegonia develop from the superficial meristematic cells of the prothallus. They are developing from the upper side of the prothallus. There, the meristematic cells are present. Number three, Archegonia are confined to the basal cushion region of the prothallus, and Anthridia on the lobes of the upright branches. Okay, it is present. This is the position of Anthridia and Archegonia on the prothallus or gametophytic plant body. Usually means generally. Generally, Archegonia develop before Anthridia. Archegonia develops before Anthridia. Now, structure of the Anthridium and Archegonium. First is the anthridium. It is oval. You see in A diagram, matured anthridium is given, which is the oval, circular, multicellular. It is covered by the jacket layer, and body of the anthridium is made by the sperm mother cells or androcytes or androgonal cells. And in B diagram, there is a multi-flagellate or multiflagellate sperm. Okay, many flagella are present on the sperm in B diagram, and in C diagram there is a archegonium. Okay, now first anthridium, see the description. It is oval, covered by sterile jacket layer. Anthridium contains androcytes, also called as sperm mother cells, and androcytes metamorphosis produces into an antherozoids. They are sperms, and sperm is spirally coiled. You see in B diagram, sperm is spirally coiled and has numerous flagella, and this sperm contains many flagella, so it is a multiflagellate structure. Then archegonium. The mature archegonium has a small neck and swollen base. You see in the C diagram, archegonium has a small neck. Upper is the neck and basal is the swollen base, called as the venter. Basal structure is swollen structure is called as venter, and upper is neck like structure called as the neck. Neck is made up of 3 to 4 tiers of the neck cells, and here 3 to 4 layers of the neck cells are present in the neck. Neck canal has one or two neck canal cells, and neck contain the 1 to 2 neck canal cells. Okay, the swollen basal part of the archegonium has a venter canal cell and an egg, and at the base of the archegonium there is a single venter canal cell, and below the venter canal cell there is a egg. So archegonium is made by basal venter and upper neck. Neck contain the neck canal cells and venter contain the venter canal cell, and at the base of the venter there is a egg cell or egg which having the female nucleus which is haploid, and B diagram there is a sperm which is motile structure, it having the single male nucleus. So B sperm is male gamete, and in C diagram egg is nothing but the female gamete. So sexual reproduction or fusion takes place in between the sperm and the egg. Now fertilization and embryo development. Number one, just fertilization means fusion of sperm and egg. Fusion of male gamete and female gamete is the fertilization. And after fertilization zygote is formed, and after zygote the embryo is developed, and embryo form the new sporophytic plant body of the equisetum. Number one, just before fertilization the neck canal cell and venter canal cells degenerate to form a mucilaginous mass which attracts sperm chemotactically. Okay, just before the fertilization in archegonium neck canal cells and venter canal cell is present, they will be degenerate, and here mucilaginous substance is formed. The mucilaginous substance is come outside from the archegonium, and due to that smell these mucilaginous substance attracts the sperm toward the archegonium, and the attraction of sperm through this mucilaginous substance due to that chemical nature, that mechanism is the chemotactic mechanism. Okay. Number two, after liberation the antherozoids means sperm swim in rain or dew water and reach to the archegonia. With the help of water the sperms are reaches to the archegonia. Number three, usually one antherozoid enters into the archegonium and fuses with the egg to form a diploid zygote. Okay, a single sperm fusion is takes place with the egg, and diploid zygote or zygotic condition is formed. Number four, the diploid zygote is the mother cell of sporophytic generation, and this zygote is nothing but the mother cell of sporophytic generation. In this way the diploid zygote is develops after the fusion of haploid male gamete sperm, haploid female gamete egg, and diploid zygote is formed. Number 5, in further developmental stages the zygote, a multicellular embryo is formed, and mature embryo form the new individual sporophytic plant body of equisetum. In post-fertilization changes, this zygote goes in the cell division and it produces the multicellular embryo, and embryo produces the new sporophytic plant body of the equisetum. So this is nothing but the alternation of generation in the equisetum. You see in the alternation of generation, first equisetum is the main plant body, sporophytic plant body, which is the diploid plant body, which is long-lived plant body. It is typically green. It is nutritionally independent plant body. So these are the characteristic of sporophytic plant body of the equisetum. At matures, underground rhizome produces the tubers, and these tubers causes the vegetative reproduction in the equisetum. And equisetum causes the sexual reproduction, and this sexual reproduction is caused by the antheridia, and archegonia develops on the prothallus or gametophytic plant body. Okay. Now the reproduction by spores. First is the sporophytic plant body. It having the strobilus, or it produces the strobilus on the fertile branch. Sporophytic plant body diploid, strobilus diploid, strobilus having the many sporangiophores, sporangiophores diploid, many sporangiophores having the many sporangia. Sporangia contain the spore mother cells or sporogenous tissue, which is also diploid, and here the meiosis takes place in the sporangium, and due to meiosis many haploid spores are developed in the sporangium. At maturity of the sporangium ruptures and many spores are come outside from the sporangium, and these spores are nothing but the haploid. When these spores are settled down on the suitable substratum in favorable conditions, they start germination, and after germination they produce the prothallus. Prothallus is nothing but the gametophytic plant body, which is the short lived. Its age is very small, short lived. It produces the antheridia as well as the archegonia. It is a monoecious plant body. Monoecious, prothallus is monoecious. Monoecious one is the sexual differentiation. Monoecious means the plant body is the single plant body is produces the antheridium as well as the archegonium. So prothallus is the monoecious. Spore germination, prothallus is develops, and spore is haploid. It develops after the meiosis. So prothallus is the haploid, and haploid prothallus produces the haploid antheridium, haploid archegonium. Antheridia produces the sperms or antherozoids. They are male gametes, and archegonia produces the egg. Egg is the female gamete. The antherozoids sperms are the motile, and egg is the non-motile, both having the male haploid nucleus and egg haploid female nucleus. Okay, and in this way the sperms are goes inside the archegonium and fuses with the egg, and diploid zygotic condition is formed. And here type of sexual reproduction is the oogamous. Oogamous is one of the advanced type of reproduction. This reproduction takes place in between motile male gamete and non-motile female gamete. In this way, diploid zygotic condition is formed, fertilization is over, and zygote is that again diploid condition is develops in the life cycle of the equisetum. This zygote goes in the cell division, mitosis. It produces the embryo, and embryo directly produces the sporophytic plant body of the equisetum. So in this way, this is the very simple and easy life cycle pattern of the equisetum. Now this is the reference textbook of botany, written by textbook of botany, diversity of microbes and cryptogams, which is written by Professor Singh, Professor Pandey, and Professor Jain. I have used this book while preparing my presentation. Thank you.